is Flow News at noon on Flow 94.9 FM, Umuahia, the flow of God's own state. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. My name is Chimdindu Chambers. The headlines. Presidency defends President Buhari's private trip to UK. Senate invites Inspector General of Police over Nigeria's security situation. FMC Umuahia successfully conducts another kidney transplant. And on the foreign scene, suspected ringleader of Sri Lanka's Easter bomb attack, killed. Details shortly. The presidency is insisting that President Muhammadu Buhari's 10-day trip to United Kingdom is not a medical trip as widely speculated. Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, stressed that the private visit does not call for serious alarm as speculated by members of the opposition.
Those who want to believe all things should just believe what has been released, that is a private trip. When a man goes on a private trip, he has the right to use his time the way he deems, because he has a right to a private time. So those who want to believe it's a medical trip, they have a right to believe it if it pleases them, if it makes them happy.
Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says President Muhammadu Buhari's cabinet will remain intact until May 22, 2019. Mohammed disclosed to reporters at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting that the president would chair a valedictory meeting of members of the council on that day.
The cabinet is still intact. We are going to have the valedictory service on the 22nd of May. So you still need to suffer out small.
Also from the Federal Executive Council, Minister of Interior Abdulrahman Dambazao announced approval of 52 billion naira to acquire modern technology to monitor the nation's borders and respond to emergencies.
This project is going to cover 86 border posts in the country, and also we'll be able to monitor those illegal routes which we have identified as about 1,400 of them. We'll be able to monitor those illegal routes that are used for smuggling and all kinds of cross-border criminal activities.
Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibanjo presided over the meeting. The Senate is inviting the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, to brief lawmakers at plenary on the security situation in the country, particularly what the police is doing to address the rampant kidnappings and banditry across the country. The invitation came after a debate on the killings of 2 humanitarian workers and the abduction of 3 others at Kajuru Castle in Kaduna State on April 19.
These bandits have taken residence in all the forests.
So I would like to recommend further that we invite the Acting Inspector General of Police to come and brief the Senate next week on the security situation, especially kidnapping across Nigeria.
The upper chamber asked the federal government to set up an interagency task force to tackle cases of banditry and kidnappings in Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, and Niger states. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, is ordering the immediate reversal of the shift duty structure of the Nigeria Police Force. The structure is a 12-hour, 2-shift system, but has now been changed to the traditional 8 hours, 3-shift duty standard.
Arguments have been raised that the resonating incidents of misuse of firearms and other extrajudicial actions by police personnel often result directly from the work-related stresses and emotional conditions which disorient their rationality.
A joint operation by police personnel in Nigeria and Benin Republic has led to the rescue of 157 children. Interpol Secretary General Jogen Stork said that the 157 minors were among a total number of about 220 victims of human trafficking rescued by the police in the operation coordinated by Interpol. Stork described human trafficking as a transnational crime from which the vulnerable, especially children, simply cannot walk away.
The criminals on this occasion were from the countries of Nigeria and Benin, predominantly men, but the actual victims were from right across West Africa, which demonstrates it's a regional and global problem. So many of the children, and particular concern I have, are being shipped in to actually these markets to carry out forced labour.
The federal government says it is committed to making the country an agricultural export hub. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Aldo Ogbe, made this known at the 43rd National Council on Agriculture and Rural Development Conference in Umuahia. The minister, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Mohammed Bello, said that the federal government has resolved to increase agricultural productivity, reduce food importation, and implement programs that promote food safety and security. Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, Abia State, has successfully carried out the 5th kidney transplant and the 3rd batch involving a 29-year-old David Okenwo. The hospital achieved the feat in collaboration with a team of medical doctors from University of Toledo Medical Center in Ohio, United States of America. The hospital management says the feat was part of the measures to curtail the growing medical tourism among Nigerians, especially as it relates to kidney transplant and similar medical issues. Both the donor and recipients are in stable condition. Anglican Bishop of Umuahia and Archbishop of Aba Province, Ikechukwu Nwosu, is advising Governor Okezie Ikpeazu to prioritize teachers and pensioners' welfare. Speaking to Flow FM News during the 2019 Synod Conference at St. Stephen's Anglican Communion, Umuahia, the bishop urged Governor Ikpeazu to create a conducive environment for feedback from Abians.
Hospital in especially hospital in Aba, it nearly went moribund, but it was the governor that tried and resuscitated it. Then some civil servants were not having their pay some, and then he tried and reached out to them. But there are others, like the teachers and those who, who are retired, and they are greater in number. And he doesn't appear to be, saying anything about those ones.
Bishop also warned politicians to refrain from owing workers or face severe punishment from God.
When persistently you do not pay people for the work they are doing, it has a spiritual connotation. It doesn't matter whether you know God or you don't. Stop the movement towards that way where you are being wicked to people who are working and you're not concerned about their well-being. And turn around and start embracing them as God's subjects. First and foremost, before even government subjects.
Abians have been advised to keep their environment clean to avoid predisposing themselves to malaria. In an interview to commemorate the World Malaria Day, Abia State Commissioner for Health, John Ahokanna, encouraged the public to sleep under treated mosquito nets.
We're talking about a 78% disease rate, and the bulk of the people that are affected are the pregnant mothers and children under 5 years of age. But an interesting thing is this disease is completely preventable, and if seen on time is also very treatable.
He revealed that the State Ministry of Health has enacted policies and programs aimed at informing the public.
On the part of government, we are working in tandem with our Ministry of Environment colleagues, because how does malaria come about? It comes from the bites of infected mosquitoes. And where do these mosquitoes breed? They breed in stagnant waters, and stagnant waters are everywhere, particularly blocked drainage.
Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has approved the immediate dissolution of the board of Abia State University Teaching Hospital, ABSUS, and Hospital Management Board, HMB. A statement by the governor's chief press secretary, Eyin Naya Apollos, did not disclose reasons for the actions, but appreciated members of the board for their contributions to the state's health sector. Recall that there had been pressure on the state government to sack management of some ailing parastatals and agencies, especially those owing salaries to workers. Flow News at noon continues shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Stay with us.
Now on Flow 94.9 FM, Umuahia, the flow of God's own state. Detailed,
balanced,
straight to the point, News now on Flow 94.9 FM. Umuahia.
6:45 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m.
News now. News as you need to know it. The flow of God's own state.
And now to business news. State governments clamoring for new revenue formula to be able to pay the new minimum wage recently signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari may have to look elsewhere for additional resources. This is because the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission says that the constitution needs to be amended before the states can get additional substantial resources they require to cater for the obligation imposed on them by the minimum wage law. Acting chairman of RMAFC, Omar Ghana, told our correspondents that there were other sources of revenue that both the federal and state government would explore in order to meet their financial obligation. And away from the shores of Nigeria, President Sirisena is revealing that the alleged ringleader behind Sri Lanka's Easter Sunday bombings was killed in the attacks. President Sirisena said Zeran Hashim, a radical preacher, died at the Shangri-La Hotel in the capital, Colombo. The president also said that Sri Lankan intelligence service believed around 130 suspects linked to Islamic State's group were in the country and that police were hunting 70 who were still at large. And finally, in sports, Henry Makinwa has resigned as coach of Nigeria Professional Football League, NPFL, side Abia Warriors. Makinwa, an ex-Nigerian Youth International and former ABS Ilorin Gefa, joined the Abia State fold midway into the current 2018-2019 abridged NPFL. But tales of woes have seen Abia Warriors drift into 11th position in the Group B standing with 6 matches remaining in the fixtures, have forced the Spain-trained coach to call time on his stay at the club. And of course, the sports story will have the news up this afternoon. To end the news, a recap on our major stories. The presidency is insisting that President Muhammadu Buhari's 10-day trip to United Kingdom is not a medical trip as widely speculated. The Senate is inviting the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, to brief lawmakers at plenary on the security situation in the country, particularly what the police is doing to address the rampant kidnappings and banditry across the country. Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, Abia State, has successfully carried out the 5th kidney transplant and the 3rd batch involving a 29-year-old David Okengo. And on the foreign scene, President Sirisena is revealing that the alleged ringleader behind Sri Lanka's Easter Sunday bombings was killed in the attacks. Thanks for being with us. Remember that security is everyone's business. Provide useful information to security agencies to ensure your security. Do join us at 6:45 a.m., noon and 6 p.m. every weekday for additional newscasts. This is Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. You can send your views or information to flowfmnews@gmail.com or visit www.flownews.com.ng for more stories. This bulletin was edited by Oluchi Ndubizu. Supervising editor, Samson Eze. My name is Chimdindu Chambers. Have yourself a lovely weekend.